I call to order the February 5th meeting of the Eastham Select Board. This meeting will be video recorded and broadcast over local channel 8 and through the town website at www.eastham-ma.gov. Before we go to the agenda, I have to sadly and with a heavy heart announce that our friend and colleague Art Arturino passed away yesterday morning in South Carolina when he was visiting his family.
That's a great
We extend our thoughts and prayers to his wife Georgia and his family. And Art is and will be sorely missed. Is there anyone else on the board that wants to say anything? Jamie?
Just read what I wrote earlier, that
That was beautiful.
it takes a special type of person to find a balance between the diligence required to sit as a community leader and the much-needed playfulness that lightens the weight of life. I've been lucky to share my time on the Eastham Select Board with Art Arturino, and it is with great sadness that I let that time go. My heart goes out to his family. I really feel like we abruptly lost a mentor and a comrade and a friend. You know, you learn so much from each other when you're sitting on these boards. And so much goes on that, I mean, it's just hard to put into words. So it is a big loss for the entire board and the entire community.
Anyone else? Jackie?
Amy here, if you,
Oh, Amy.
Amy? Okay, Amy.
yeah, just, second what Jamie said. There's always something to learn from Art. You know, he always had a different perspective and, a thoughtful one too. He didn't take things lightly, and he cared so deeply about this town and what we're all working towards. And, that will be truly missed.
Yep. Jackie?
And I guess I think the suddenness of this, and he was able to be with all three of his children and Georgia for the last few days of his life, which is, I think, a great blessing, but it was very sudden. And I feel like, I regret not having said to him what a respectful and fabulous partner and chairman and human he was to work with. And guys, I have to take the time to let you know how fortunate I feel to work with you, because as Rich and I discuss all the time, you're all focused on what's best for Eastham. You respect each other, and you're very supportive and respectful of me and of all town staff. And we've worked in other towns, and we know how exceptional that is. And so, thank you. I appreciate you. Just in case, any of us go to.
Well, Art kind of led this along that way. He also had a good sense of humor.
Totally.
It was with my calling me
Yes.
Dr. No from all my no votes on the Finance Committee. But, okay, we'll move on to the agenda. Is there anything on the select board anyone want to say? Anything that's not on the agenda? Anything? Anyone from the public want to, anything that is not on our agenda? All right.
What's on the agenda yet?
Pardon?
Haven't heard what's on the agenda yet.
You haven't.
Oh,
It should be.
I can
Post-
give you a
it's
copy
posted,
of
but yeah, we
mine.
can give you a copy.
we will hold. In case you have something you want to say, we'll hold for a moment.
Actually, we were.
If you would like to come, please come to the podium and speak into the mic, say your name and your address.
Vicki Marcus, Ireland Highland Way. I'm attending today because I was told that there would be an opportunity to discuss something the board is considering, which is fees for
Yes,
pickleball court
yes,
use.
that's coming up in the public hearing.
Okay,
It's on the, yeah,
It's on the agenda,
we look
okay?
for it, we just thought I'd mention.
That's right, no problem.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Paul?
The Community Preservation Committee is updating their 5-year CPA plan, and they will be hosting a community workshop this Saturday, the 10th, at the library from 10 to noon, and anyone's welcome to attend. There'll be some refreshments provided, and there is actually some programming at the library for kids separate, but we're sort of piggybacking on that, so parents, if you're there, try to stop in and participate in the CPA
It's this Saturday?
this Saturday
This-
at 10 at the library.
All
Did you
right,
say 10 to 2?
10 to noon.
Noon.
10 to
Okay,
noon.
that's-
All right.
that's better.
Anyone else? We'll go on to the next item, which is the public fee hearing, and I have to read this. The Eastham Select Board will hold a public hearing on Monday, February 5th, 2024, at 5:30 PM at the Eastham Town Hall in the Earl Mountain Room, 2500 State Highway, and by remote participation on the proposed fiscal year '25 increases or setting of user fees, license fees, or permit fees for various departments. A list of proposed changes will be available at Town Hall in the Administration Office, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., and on the town's website at www.eastham-ma.gov. So the public hearing is now open. And first thing is the transfer station. Jackie?
Okay. And do you want to just let people know how the public hearing's going to go?
Oh, yes, that's a good point. I was going to do that later. Since we have a lot of fees, we are going to hear from each town department what the fees are. And after each department, we will have questions and things from the board, and then it'll be open to the public. And if you want to speak on any of the fees in there, or call on you, we ask you, if you're here in the room, to come up to the podium. Please speak into the mic, say your name and your address, and then I will give you 3 minutes to speak. Now, we also ask, we'll do people from online too in a second. I will also ask that you don't repeat what someone has said before. So if I came up and said, I like this because of X, we already heard that, so we can move along. Don't come up, add something new. If you're going to come up, I like it because of Y, do that. So that's what we would ask, that we don't repeat.
Or you could say that you support what
Or
Jerry
you can
said.
come up and say, I support what Jerry said, and that's it. You don't have to continue on. For online, if anyone is online, just raise your hand and we'll look and we will call on you. And when you come on, state your name and your address, and then you will also have 3 minutes. And we ask the same, not to repeat what you said. You can say, I support what someone has already said, and that's it. That's fine. That is fine. And that's how we'll try and do it, so we can move along, because there are quite a few fees here. So we'll start, we'll have, for each department, we'll ask staff to present, and then we'll open it up first to the board and then to the public. Jackie?
Thank you. So I'll go through the transfer station fees, and then I see the DPW superintendent and water clerk here as well. They can answer questions, but basically, we are going from a residential transfer station sticker fee of $120 a year to $135 a year, so that's going up $15, basically because the tipping costs, all of our costs are going up. The third transfer station sticker fee will be the same. It will go up to 135. So we allow you to buy a second one for 30, is it still 30? Yeah, for $30. If you want a third one, you have to pay the 135. Replacement stickers for shellfish will be going from $7 to $10. Solid waste costs for the haulers will be going from $125 per ton to $165 per ton. All the mattresses have different fees based on sizes. We're going to uniform that at $50 a mattress. We have to do a special program for mattresses, so it's very complicated. Same thing with appliances. We have a sliding scale fee for appliances. All appliances are going to be $20. Anything with a refrigerant in it will be $20. Propane tanks, $10 up to 40 pounds. Tires, again, there's a sliding fee. We're going to do all tires at $10, and that is a fee that was recommended to go up, but it didn't make it into the packet, so we were going to go up higher than $10. So I'm going to hold that for now. We'll increase to 10, and then we may take a look at that in a couple of weeks when we do another public hearing for the budget. And a fire suppression fee from $250 to $300. And that's what we're discussing tonight.
All right. Anyone on the board have any questions or comments here?
Everything struck me as pretty reasonable for,
Pardon?
everything was very reasonable in my opinion when I took a look at this, so.
It
Right.
looks like it'll be easier to,
Right.
oh, it looks like it'll be easier to track for
Right.
staff.
Yeah.
I had a question just to make sure. One of the things that we were always, when I was on the Finance Committee, always concerned about in the solid waste fee per ton for the haulers was to make sure we weren't so high that no one came or so low that we got everyone to come. So are you pretty confident that the moving from 125 a ton to 165 a ton puts us in a nice equilibrium where we're not
The highest or the lowest?
the highest or the lowest, not swamped, whatever?
Yeah, to answer your question, it is a very reasonable increase. Our fees are being increased by about 25% come December 31st. So it's relative for what,
It's right
what
on
our
balance.
fees are going to
Right,
be.
the fees being the tipping fees at CMAS to
Yes,
bring it up.
yeah.
Yeah, that's great. While you're up there, the only other question I have, I know we have a lot of things to do on mattresses, and I think it's just it was a great sustaining program. Is the $50, is it 50? Yeah, 50 across the board. Is that going to keep us so that you can remain taking over the title mattress king of Cape Cod out here?
Yeah. At this time, $50 is a very reasonable, and it's, our fees, it just went up, what we're paying, and we feel that $50 will be a
Cover it.
good
All right,
rate
thank
across
you.
the board.
Right.
So if you're buying new mattresses or new appliances and they give you the deal of taking it away for free,
Here's
say yes.
Yes,
Absolutely.
that's right.
Jerry, Amy's got her hand up.
Okay, do we have somebody online?
Amy.
Amy? Amy, go ahead.
Yeah, I just make the point that 125 for a sticker hasn't gone up in a long time.
At 120.
I think
120, yeah. Mhm.
One-
Yeah.
120,
Yeah, 6
it's
years?
probably,
10 years.
oh, at least.
Oh, my God.
I was going to make that comment that 2014 was the last time all these rates were
10 years, yep.
adjusted.
10 years.
So
my
so it's
my
time.
first year,
Um,
my first year in Eastham.
Oh, my goodness.
All right. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
That's anybody else from the board? How about the public? Anyone here
Which said with regard to these specific.
with
Yeah.
regard to these fees on the transfer station fees? Anyone online? I don't see anyone. Okay. We will move to a discussion on the board.
Do we vote on these first?
To vote on, we can vote on these today, and we'll do that. So anybody,
With the tires?
do I hear a?
Without the without the tires
No.
at
We were-
50.
Yeah, we're
Well, we'll
including the
keep
tires at 10.
We'll do the tires at 10, as
Yeah,
printed.
okay.
We-
Okay.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to
Yeah, I'll make-
accept, oh, go ahead.
All right, I'll make a motion to accept the raise in fees as presented.
Second.
All right, do we have any discussion, further discussion? Hearing none, we will go to a vote. Amy?
Aye.
Suzanne?
Yes.
Jamie?
Aye.
And I am a yes. So that's passed. So now, the next department is the Recreation Department, so for fees.
Christine, do you want me to do it, or do you want, I'll run through and then the question. So this fee schedule is the replacement sticker for either a beach sticker or a shellfish permit is currently at 7, it's going to 10. A waived beach sticker, and that's, if you give it to somebody else?
Right, you want to pass it?
Yeah. But I get confused sometimes.
I didn't quite get it either.
All right, Christine,
Hi.
put the mic down for you,
I know.
Christine.
Thanks, Jerry. I thought I would have a little step here. And I just want to mention with the replacement one, it would also be for the transfer station sticker too. Yeah,
Okay.
okay. So currently, we allow a taxpayer to waive a beach sticker. So what that means is I, as an Eastham taxpayer, I opt not to get a beach sticker on my own vehicle. I can waive that to anybody.
Oh,
I can waive it to somebody from another town, I could waive it to my brother. So this is a policy that's been part of the rules and regulations for stickers since I've been here. And I just think that we do allow this, and most of the waiving goes to individuals who wouldn't be allowed a taxpayer sticker, so it should be a different fee. And we do now have the beneficiary sticker that we allow for trusts.
Right.
And that's a $75 rate, so keeping it
In line with,
in line with
Line
that.
makes sense.
Okay.
And then the only other fee change we have is pickleball. Currently, there is no fee, and the courts are open and accessible. There was a request to have some resident, non-resident taxpayer time set aside with basically no access to outside people. So we agreed on that schedule for June, July, August, and September. Mondays, Wednesdays from 8 to 11, and Fridays from 4 to 7. The 4 to 7 time was controversial, but we felt like we should give some afternoon time in case there were people who wanted to play after work or whatever. And Christine agreed to review that 6 weeks into the season, so if no one's using it, we'll move it to a morning time. Basically, because we have to either fob or staff, and we also want to purchase a windscreen for pickleball, we set a fee of $50 a year for that request. So if you don't want the set-aside time, you don't have to pay $50. If you want to play during that special taxpayer-only time, you would pay $50 a year.
All right. Any questions from, questions or comments from the board? Jamie?
Yeah.
And then Amy after you, Jamie. Go ahead, Jamie.
So, yeah, I've been talking with some folks, that, residents in town about some of the different fees that we have set up in town. Basically, the way I look at what we're looking at now with pickleball is that this was brought to us as a concern by residents that wanted better regulation on pickleball courts or windows where there was structure. So like Jackie explained, when you do that sort of thing, you have to pay people to maintain and staff, and there's different types of equipment you need to have. In addition to wanting more services at that location, there was a request for more gear, right? And it was windscreen. Again, these things all cost money. So usually with the concept of a fee is pulled from the population that's causing the expense to the town. So a fee is associated with an increase in demand from the community. So that's where this comes from. It wasn't something that we came up with. This came from a response to taxpayer concerns. So that's why it's here tonight and up for discussion. So,
Amy?
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up, this really is nothing new. My partner Joanna, as a high school kid in the summers, sat up at the courts at the high school, which were actually town-owned at the time, and collected, she thinks, $3 for people for scheduled times to play tennis. So if you add up, how much some people play, that's a lot more expensive than the $50 if people, are going to play all summer there. So I don't think it's anything new, and I think Jamie put it well, that this was something that, people wanted exclusive times, and that's how this fee came about. It isn't just randomly, we want to stick it to the pickleball players.
All right.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is there going
Suzanne.
to be a limit on the number of permits sold?
I don't know. I mean, that's a good
Good.
question. I
Yeah.
think that for the first year, we have no idea how many people will want to do this. So I think I set the fee based on like 100 players.
And some other towns do limit, I think Sandwich actually limits 24 people at certain hours. Other towns are upward over 500, but they have more courts than we do, so I think we've adapted.
I don't know how many people it takes to play pickleball. I just know that there's a lot of them.
You can have two or
Or
four.
2 or 4.
There's a lot of them, and they have great, I have to say, the players have we have pickleball players here, I'm sure, Sue, but they have pretty good systems of how to jump in and out of games so that it's revolving.
Okay.
Um,
So if like a crowd of people went at that time,
You still have to sign up, right? You
if
still
you're
have to
going
sign
during
up
those
to
windows, you would have to sign up
oh,
if you paid the $50 for those
jump
set
in the
windows.
game. Yep.
But if you're outside those windows, you can just come and go.
I think
I meant like in terms of like if there was more interest during that time of people who had permits, if, they just kind of figure it out amongst themselves?
No, there's a sign-up sheet, and they have a sign-up sheet, and they revolve.
Okay.
That's how it was explained to me.
And then are we giving people fobs to access the court?
Some sort of fob or permit, something, yeah.
Fob
yeah.
or person, yeah,
Yeah.
we haven't decided yet.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
I'm glad that you're going to review this in July, and we'll see, this is a first attempt. I'm leery in today's world to have citizens control a set thing with a fee and create potentially some arguments. But I think looking at it, a review in July, I think makes some sense for us. At least that's our initial thought. And where is any other comments from the board? And we'll open it up then to questions or comments from the general public. And we have some, please state your name again, and I know it's Ireland Way, but state your.
Vicki Marcus, good to see you again. I believe the meeting that was initiated, this discussion on fees, was during the summer when a group that's been playing together for well over 4 years now, large community, actually, residents that grow during the summer. It's like, gosh, it would be great to just be able to play the residents because the flux of tourism, there isn't anyone on the Outer Cape that doesn't know Eastham has free courts. And it has created at least an additional number. If there's 100 people coming to play, there's at least 80 that are visiting and trying to get in. More courts was the knee jerk. That would solve the flow of people without charging them another fee. However, I'm surprised actually that the fee discussion is moving forward prior to canvassing the community. I can say that just by Team Reach, the scheduling program that's private, but actually many towns use it, such as Orleans, to schedule time. And then the other one that's used, there are 3 of them. Among that, there are probably about 300 people who are in it scheduling time. So I would think it might be worth canvassing the community for a study of sorts, even if it's just a postcard with 2 questions on it. Are you interested in more pickleball courts? Would the courts at the high school perhaps be available during those peak summer months? 2 more perhaps?
Okay, can I
ahead.
just,
Go ahead.
so that would be a great idea, but I can assure you, it's not possible to add pickleball courts between now and July of this year.
Are there not tennis courts at the high school during the summer, 5 of them?
That's the high school.
Could 2 not be designated
I
for
don't know,
pickleball?
because it's the high school, and so we don't have control of the high school or of those courts. I mean, Christine agreed to reach out, but I don't know if we can solve that problem between now and July. We can give you the specified time, which was part of the request, and so that's what we're talking about tonight.
Right, I mean, it's kind of a brainstorming session, and I don't know if you've heard from the pickleball court community, so I thought it
Yes,
might
we've gotten
work.
many, 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 many emails and phone calls.
Okay, well, that's good that our voices are being heard, but I wonder how many more out there might be. Again, just tossing out ideas because we've got more people than court time. Some other communities have come up with other solutions just during July and August.
We
just
have 1
during this
minute left, just
2-hour
so you know.
just during a 2-hour cycle of just residents. I'm wondering, but the tennis courts at the high school during the summer months, is that open to the public to play tennis?
Yes, and I don't know what schedule they have for, oh, Ed,
I'll speak to that.
Yep. okay.
And they're under construction,
Thank you.
so.
I'll
Yeah, it is
defer to the
construction.
question.
Okay,
There are other things I want to talk
Ed,
about.
Okay, thank you.
you're after Ed.
Ed Casarella, 15 Seaside Drive, and I chair the Recreation Commission. On behalf of the Recreation Commission, we are definitely against this proposal. We think that the pickleball courts in all our facilities should be open free to the public on a first-come, first-served basis. I mean, granting this special population that are Eastham taxpayers these prime hours, we don't think will solve the problem. I mean, we feel there's a great number of them, there's a huge number of them that go there, and even charging a fee, there's still going to be a big number. They're still going to have the same problem they have now, and it's always been the Recreation Commission's philosophy that our facilities are open free to the public on a first-come, first-served basis. I mean, we're committing some prime hours to this proposal, and we're taking away from people that may be pickleball players that come and rent a home for $4,000 a week here. But that is our stance, and I have to be adamant. We spoke a long time on this issue, and we still speak on it at every meeting. And of the 5 members on my commission, nobody feels that we should impose fees and restrict the play. The other thing, a little clarification on the high school. Okay, the high school tennis courts was a grant done through CPC, granted to the Nauset school system. Now, if you want to change the use of those tennis courts, you have to go to the Nauset school system to change the use of those tennis courts. And I really, personally feeling, I don't think they want to change. I mean, they were willing, and one of the reasons we gave them the money to build the tennis courts was because Eastham had no public tennis courts. And with the understanding, June, July, August, to the beginning of September, those become public tennis courts for the town of Eastham.
Right.
So I think that if you want to change the usage, you have to go through the Nauset school system.
Yeah.
And that would probably require them to come to CPC, asking for a change, and it would probably have to be an article on the warrant because it was passed as an article on the warrant to build tennis courts.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ed. Clerk?
Hello, my name is Michael Harnett, 20 Leprechaun Road. I am a pickleball player. I want to say that I'm not against the fee. I think it's, actually, I welcome you guys even thinking about this. I think it's a good thing. I do want to say, though, that the reason why we want to do this is we have an influx. We play mostly in the morning because it's not that hot.
Yeah.
And so everybody comes to the Eastham. Of course, we have 2 courts. We get over 45 people, so you're there for 2 hours, you get to play 3 times if you're lucky. And so that's why we actually like the people that come, the people we play with from other towns. They're good pickleball players, we like most of them. But
It's the best you can do at any sport.
but what I'm suggesting is, there is no competition at the 4 to 7.
Okay.
The courts are open. It's in the morning. So if we could shorten the time of your looking at it, not to mid-July, or even just scrap that and just do 3 days early, that would be so much nicer. Because there is only 2 courts. And if you go in the afternoon, they're empty. Or there's only a couple people playing because it's too hot. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? How about online? Anything? Okay, we will.
I got someone.
Oh, there's a hand.
Someone online? Okay. Mary Ann, you're on.
Just make sure you state your
I'm
name,
on.
name and
Am I
address.
on?
Name and address, please, yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Mary Ann Wallace, 2650 State Highway. I understand that there might have to be some fees, but I just want to point out a few things. First of all, we've had windscreens for several years. They were ruined from the wind. And I understand that I was told that they were ordered this year already. They just have not come in. So I'm not sure that actually plays into the expense of having someone come to check to see if people have their little registered.
I'm just going to interject, Marion, though that is untrue, that they have not, no one had stated that they'd been ordered. I'm just going to have Christine from the rec department clarify.
We have been working with the vendor to order them. It's a problem with measuring correctly, and it hasn't happened also because of funding.
Okay, perhaps I misunderstood that then.
Thank you.
But we have had windscreens for several years now. You're referring to an identity thing as a fob, and I don't know what the expense is in something that's called a fob, but I play pickleball down in Florida, and we have, like when you go to Stop and Shop, you've got that little plastic thing. They're small, I don't even know, 1 inch by 2 inches maybe, and with a hole in it so you can put it on your thing. So there's not a lot of expense to that. A fob, I know sometimes could run a lot of money. We'll also need signs on the pickleball court and online, on the Eastham site, and whoever puts it up on apps like Places to Play and stuff like that, that if there is some restricted time that needs to be addressed also. But I can't imagine a big expense with that. And I think sometimes with the $50 fee, considering that there's only 2 courts, some
You are at
people
1
may
minute, just so
think-
you know, Marianne.
Okay, some people may think that that's a little bit high for that. But we have to remember too that these courts are open 24/7. They're lit. There's a lot of opportunity for other people to play, and it's only 3 mornings a week. It's 9 hours out of all that time. So hopefully you'll take that into consideration when you finalize this fee, and whether you'll actually do it. So thank you.
Thank you, Mary Ann. Is there anyone else online that wanted to ask? Anyone else in the, here in the room? All right. We'll close that discussion, and now,
I guess if I could just,
oh,
thank you.
yes,
Well,
Christine, I'm
just,
sorry.
No, that's okay. Just speaking quickly to the amount of the fee, I think as a rec department, we don't ever try to make money on programs. I will tell you, the youth programs that we run average from $2.50 an hour to about $5 an hour. The fee that has been proposed, if you talk about the 4 months, the 9 hours a week comes down to 33 cents an hour. So, and I think that goes to helping staff, replacement windscreens, replacement equipment,
Right.
the fobs. And I'm not talking about like security fobs where, but,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
No, it is, yeah, I don't think we're questioning. Thank you, Christine.
Any other, did that, please come up?
I'm going to give it time.
Vicki Marcus from Ireland Way. When this is revisited in July, will the community be alerted that the rec department is having a discussion on this topic, a recap, or will you be putting that as part of the agenda so that, I'm interested in hearing what happens after it's been studied.
So you mean when Christine comes back and says, no one's using the 4 to 7 time?
No, in July, when she revisits that. So your plan is to implement this?
In June, yeah.
In June. And then in July,
Right.
hopefully that process will be
So if she came
solidified.
back, she would come back here.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Anything else? All right, we'll close this discussion, and let's talk about do I hear a motion on the rec department fees?
So we can make a motion, make a second, and then have discussion.
Okay, yeah.
So I'll make a motion to accept the rec department fees as stated in the packet.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second from
Second.
Amy? Okay.
Now discussion.
Now, discussion. Suzanne?
Yeah, I guess I'm a little torn on this one, and as it's been said, the town doesn't require fees for no reason. We can't actually make any money. It all needs to cover the operating expense, and sometimes that looks like just staff either sitting there or going through permits and any other equipment. And I recognize that there's a need to have more pickleball courts possibly, but that's a longer process and a much larger expense as well. And so, again, as Jackie said, we're not going to get new pickleball courts this year. And, I think the board tends to try something and then revisit it and then make adjustments as it goes. So it would be really useful for people who do play pickleball if we approve this fee to come back in July and be like, hey, it didn't really help. I paid all of this money and I really didn't get to use it. Or, hey, it really did help. I thought it was worth the money. Yeah, so, and I appreciate, Ed, your comment about having our facilities be free to the public to use as a value of the Recreation Commission.
I guess I might have a question, Christine. So, right, my concern is that in order to maintain these courts and this new service that we're providing the community, because since I've been on the board, we never had this before. This is a new service to the community. So with that comes an expense. Just like kids have to pay for their rec program, adults also have to pay for their rec program, and this is no different. So my question is, if we entertain the idea of no fee and allowing it to be free to all again, going back to exactly what it was, how do we cover the cost of new supplies for this new service that we're offering the adult population?
We don't.
We don't,
Right.
right? Yeah, we can't. Because we're not going to take the money from the kids' rec program.
So I
to-
think the reason we started with a windscreen and all of that is because we used CPA money to create the court. So it
Okay.
wasn't actually
Town funds.
resident taxpayer funds, it was CPA funds that, I'm sorry, is that wrong?
Okay, I'm like,
So they're fairly new, and so we started with
Right.
a brand-new surface and new courts and the
Okay.
windscreen, and then the windscreen needs to be replaced.
Right.
So that's when Christine and I grappled with, I don't feel comfortable taking it out of the rec fund
No.
that people are paying into for kids' programs, because, they're all paying into that for kids' programs. So that's where we came.
But just to back up a little,
Yeah.
okay? Originally, when we built the pickleball courts and had windscreens, we took the windscreen down in the winter. We closed the pickleball courts in the winter.
Right.
Which
That's
is
true.
recommended by everybody that installs pickleball courts, is to shut them down in the winter.
And take the nets
For the
down.
lifetime. And the other thing, and I appreciate this group who goes out and shovels the snow in the winter off the pickleball courts.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, according to contractors, it's the worst thing you could do with damages the pickleball courts. But again, we used to close and lock them in the winter, but I believe as of last year, you asked us to keep them open, and we kept them open. So I mean, that
now there's more expense to
requires
maintain it.
maintenance,
Right.
and it creates costs.
So I guess, everything was new, and now we have to do things like replace
Right.
screens. And we're going to be replacing nets, there's no doubt about it, but I don't know how expensive they are. Less than screens, probably.
Honestly, I don't know. I should, but I don't.
So, yeah, I mean, I feel torn because I agree with, right, I'm very much a fan of everything being free and accessible to all, regardless of the ability to pay for a fee. At the same time, this new service is creating a new expense, and to generate money to cover for those expenses, the idea of having this limited program, right? You don't have to pay $50. You don't have to participate in this program if you don't want to. It's still free and accessible to all, with a few windows being reserved for folks who can pay into this program. And the benefit being that we can now maybe try to fund some improvements for the courts and to fund this new program that seems to be evolving in town that didn't exist before. So we need something to fund it with. So for that reason, I feel like I lean toward trying this for a year and seeing how it goes, seeing if we can offset cost impacts and things like that, so that we're not pulling money from other areas of rec that are already, people already pay into.
Thank you. Amy, do you have anything? No? I guess out of this, I would say people watching and so forth, if you have land you're willing to donate where we can put a pickleball court in, we'll gladly accept it, because in essence, if we had more
Pickleball courts.
more pickleball courts, and more ability to do it, this problem would not be facing us. But I do agree with you, Jamie, and I think I said it before, this is kind of an experiment to start, and we'll take a look at it in July at some point, and we'll force Christine to come here and stand over there and talk to us. But then we'll see what is and make adjustments from there. But I think from my perspective, this is looking at it from the point of view of an experiment, a first try. Let's see what happens, and we can adjust. We have the ability to adjust and so forth. And if I want to play pickleball in the mornings and I don't want to pay $50, I do it Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. It's open and try and get there. But this is
And
a
Saturdays.
Saturday and Sunday.
Saturday and Sunday, yes, right, yes,
So there's a
Saturday and
lot.
Sunday too, that's true, that's quite
Yeah.
a bit. But it's, I look at, it's tough, but to understand that this is kind of a response to a request from citizens that turned up to be a problem for them, because we were the only town that didn't charge. And I think it's great that we were the only town that didn't charge. And now we're charging for just a small window and see how it works. So that's where I sit. This isn't permanent. This is a first try, and let's see if we can see what rubs and what doesn't and what works. So that's where I'm at. Any further discussion from anyone?
Call the vote.
I'll do the vote. Amy?
Aye.
Suzanne?
Yes.
Jamie?
Aye.
And I am a yes as well. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody, for coming and
There's a- and
contributing.
Everyone who came to the meeting and spoke, thank you. If you have to leave, that's
Thank you,
fine, but
Christine.
we have
And-
more, we have more to go here. We have more to go.
And
All right,
come back in July.
rental registration. Jackie?
Okay, so this is an interesting one in some ways because we've had a rental registration program for years, over 20 years, and longer than most other towns. But we haven't really required much other than a rental registration and a couple of pieces of information. So we want to make sure that they get inspected, and we want to make sure, and we could do that with the staff that we had. Starting in 2018, we started to add staff. So with the short-term rental registration tax, with the tax that the state imposed, I added a half-time person, and we got more applications. So we've been handling a lot of applications, and now we're at the point where we don't have a system of managing this program that's really effective so that I can give you any data. And this spring, when, the board was asking, how many short-term rentals do we have? How many are year-round? What's the, we need more data, and this is a great way to get it, but that software program, like most software programs, is very expensive, and it's an annual cost. So to add that and to recoup some of our other charges that we've been just putting on basically the general operating budget instead of this program, we're going to increase that fee from $75 a year to $350 a year. And I have gotten calls and complaints, and I understand that it's, it sounds excessive and painful to our short-term residents, but I think if you read the memo that I wrote in the packet, I think that gives the
Good memo.
justification
excellent.
of why we're moving in this direction and why it's important for us to try and recover those costs as our operating budget gets more and more pressed.
Thank you, Jackie.
Right, thank you.
Yeah, and if anybody, the packet is available online, and I highly recommend reading that.
Right.
That was really helpful.
Anyone else, any other comments?
I wanted to highlight just a little part. I mean, there's many parts of your memo that I could highlight. It was great.
Oh, good.
And I think one of in this idea of fee setting and why the fees, why the cost, there's all of these other like little costs that aren't super public facing when you go to pick up a permit. And I appreciate that you outlined a number of them in terms of like just being able to track it so we have the information, but then also to be able to track complaints and the impact that that has on staff every single summer. And again, to be able to track it is really useful information. And so I appreciated that you put that in there because that's work that has to be done in the town, and it's directly related to short-term rentals.
Just like this little document.
You
that
made our little chart.
This, yes.
Yeah.
So I did send my memo to town council because there was some, basically some questions on Facebook. Is this a legal fee? And so town council opined, and he actually asked me to revise my chart to add some more different categories to it. But other than that, it looks like it's, as I thought, a legitimate fee. And I also just wanted to, in the software program that we looked at, we have a record of about 750 short-term rentals, and it looks like on January of this year, we have advertising 1,029 units available for short-term rental in Eastham, and they're being advertised on 30-plus platforms. So our rental registration clerk cannot cover 30-plus platforms in a 19-hour job. So I think, we need to switch to, unfortunately, software and IA to help us track this
Right?
growing business.
And can I add on top of that,
Suzanne?
is I feel like there's some concern over short-term rentals being advertised over their occupancy and what that does to septics. And we don't know if that's an issue or not, because we don't have a good way of tracking, are these being over-occupied? Are they being advertised past occupancy? And so we don't have like a great way of knowing if it's an issue or not. It's just a general concern that comes up, and there's not a great way to
Right?
monitor that. And it impacts our water quality, that's not
And-
That's
nothing.
right.
Yeah, and even beyond that, I mean, there are people that live here still. And, when you try to go to bed at night because you have to work in the morning and there's a house that's got a dozen people and a 3-bedroom, that's like
It's difficult.
major. Or a dozen people in a 1-bedroom, that's major.
Yeah, and Suzanne, you hit the point that I was going to make. I mean, we're looking at the environment that we have. We're looking at our water and septic issues and so forth, and this fee will help us have staff take a look at that, which will end up having some benefits, hopefully, for the town in enforcing septic limits, so that we try and keep our water as clear as we can. I mean, we have wastewater is going to be is a big issue for us, and this is one way that we can take a look at it. And as we go later, if you just take a look at when we become water commissioners, what's in the packet, how dramatically the dramatic increase of water usage in the summer quarter, and that's what we're looking at, and that also increases the septic and wastewater usage, and I think it's important for us to go forward with that. Any other comments from the board before I open it up and get any from the public? Anyone from the,
Can I make
Oh,
my last,
sorry,
I'm going to
Suzanne,
say
I'm
it
sorry.
again. The town cannot impose a fee that doesn't cover the cost of the program. Like, we're not legally allowed to make a profit as a town. It's a really boring answer, but like the state doesn't allow it. So it's not, none of these are ever some sort of like money grab on behalf of the town to like get more money. Like, we want to provide services and provide a nice place for people to live and for people to visit. And it costs money to do that, but also it has to be in line with how much it costs to do the thing. And that's where the pricing comes, and Jackie updated her chart if you're interested in that breakdown.
right? Anyone else on board? Amy, you have anything you want to say? No? Okay, anyone from the,
Covered it.
anyone from the general public here who's here? You would, please, come up. Thank you, state your name and your address, and we'll give you 3 minutes.
Thank you. Yeah, Tyler Hands, 721 Sunset. So my question about the increase in fees, and I'm sorry, I didn't see all of, I don't think I'm privy to all the information that went into exactly the reasoning behind it. It just seems like a very steep increase. And I guess my question is, are some of those, I understand the need for being able to do some of these inspections and keep an eye on, what we're doing as a town and, what has become quite a significant industry, certainly here.
Everywhere, yeah.
And my question, mostly just has to do with, is none of this, would none of this funding be available through what's a pretty significant short-term rental taxes that are already leveled? And the only reason that I bring that fee seems somewhat regressive in that it doesn't really have to do with the number of properties that any individual person owns, the amount of income that they make, whether or not they live there, year-round or not. And to, having it connected more closely to the amount of income made just seems fairer to all. Folks who choose to rent their house for part of the year, this hits them as much as someone who has made a purchase of a second home as simply an investment. And, I wonder if that's fair across the board, is all.
Yeah, I understand. I think the first question is extremely valid. Of course, in 2018, the state did give us an opportunity to participate in the short-term rental tax as a town. So the state receives money, the Cape and Islands Water Protection Fund receives a part of that, and the town receives the rest. And the town made a decision at that point not to use it for the operating budget. So the positions that we added, we covered under our operating budget, and we didn't charge the user. So we didn't raise the fee, and we didn't take it out of the short-term rental tax. The first 2 years of the short-term rental tax, we used it primarily for housing offsets to cover new issues, to be able to move forward with some of our housing initiatives. And then from this year on, we are using 100% of, mostly, of that tax to put towards our wastewater initiative. So at town meeting, we basically approved $6 million in funding for studying the next step in wastewater, and that is paid for, the debt service of that is paid for with our short-term rental tax. So again, it is tricky, and I understand it. It's like I should have been better at going back in starting these fee changes earlier, so that could have been more gradual. So I apologize for that. But I do think the pressure on our operating budget right now is to try and segregate some of these expenses, and everyone's going to have to pay for wastewater, so we're trying to also, offset that. So we just thought that at this point, it would be better to take 100% of the cost of this program out of the fee and segregate the short-term rental tax for our wastewater programs.
Thank you.
Rich, you want to?
Thank you.
And I just wanted to add, because I don't think we can probably say this enough as we go through the next several years of wastewater discussions, but just to keep reminding people that the impetus of that short-term rental fee coming to the towns was the state's way of telling us that that's their contribution.
To wastewater.
Where historically it was a 50% federal share, a 25% state share, and a 25% local share.
No more.
Well, as far as the state was concerned, that was their 25% share of letting us collect other people's money as opposed to giving us their money.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's exquisitely explained, actually,
Yes,
Rich. Thank you.
Anyone online? I don't see any hands up.
Can I,
And that, I have to say that the comment that the gentleman made is the comment that I've been hearing. Why does it have to be so steep? And we are trying to keep the year-round rental fee stable at $100 because we don't have to do the monitoring with that program. So it takes some of the fees out, but I understand, we do have, the data shows that we have some people with multiple rentals that are year-round residents that are renting multiple properties too, so.
And I just,
We are looking at that,
Yeah,
too.
Was it Suzanne? Did you want to say something?
it had to do with why can't it be in relation to the income, basically? And I didn't know if we wanted to address that or just the way that we structure fees is.
well, you could
Well, I-
potentially do that, but that makes it very difficult to
Right.
administer.
Right,
And,
that
then
was-
we have incurring more costs just to allocate it based on some other basis than a flat fee. And I
Right.
did want to speak to that because in Jackie's calculations in her memo, we're really just talking about direct costs directly associated with the program, which
That people are
everybody ought
directly
to share.
using.
If we were to add all kinds of indirect costs, talk about water quality, wastewater, police, fire, public services, pickleball, that number would be extremely higher, and if we ever get to that point, then maybe we do have some sort of different scale, but this seems to be just covering the base core direct charges associated with running the program.
Yeah, I think it's fair in that respect.
Any other comments? Anyone else? Is anything? Okay, do I hear a motion, let's see, to approve the rent, I think there are two rental fees, right? The 75 to 350 and 75 to 100?
I will make a motion to approve the rental fee changes as stated in the packet.
Second.
One second. Okay, any further discussion? We'll do a vote. Amy?
Aye.
Suzanne?
Yes.
Jamie?
Aye.
And I am a yes as well. Okay. I want to thank you
Yeah,
for
great.
being here, and thank you for raising some
Good question.
important questions. And there's no doubt that we'll be looking at these fees, and who knows what the future brings. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
And
for-
it was
for
a
your-
little misleading for the state to give us a short-term rental tax and then be like, but it's really for wastewater.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
right.
that's, I
Well-
feel like
Well,
that's a.
they
like
did
giving,
say it
like-
at the time, it's just that it did shift the burden,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's the way, welcome to Massachusetts. All right, the next, of course, I used to live in Virginia, and I can tell you it's just the same down there, but whatever. The next group of building fees. Is that to you, or do we pull Paul up?
We're pulling Paul up. He's doing this because I can't even go there. There's just so many different ones.
Good evening.
So many pre-existing, but just everything's adjusted.
Okay, Paul, go ahead. You have more than 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Well, hopefully I won't need it all. It goes so smooth. Well, good evening. So if you recall, a few weeks ago, we had the initial discussion about the proposed fees. This is really driven by the increasing complexity of construction, residential and commercial. Our state building code, plumbing code, electrical codes are constantly getting updated. They are getting more complex, and just in general, the nature of construction, as I said, the cost, the materials, the methods is getting increasingly complex. So as we've been talking about all these fees tonight, we try to calibrate the fees to match the services rendered. And it's, I guess to be blunt, it's taking more and more time for our inspectors to do plan review, provide assistance to contractors and homeowners. The amount and the complexity of the inspections themselves are all beginning to add up. So we felt it would be prudent to revisit the fees. Went over this with the building commissioner and our plumbing and gas and electrical inspectors, who also work in our neighboring towns, plumbing and electric and wiring. So we kind of benefit from, they're seeing this firsthand. They know the fees in the neighboring towns, they know the construction. So I feel like we calibrated it pretty consistently. So this is really, and as with fees, we're trying to set it a little bit to be competitive with our neighboring towns, but also kind of set it in anticipating, gradually the fees. So they're a little bit higher than the surrounding towns, but that's because we anticipate all the towns are going to be recalibrating in the years to come. So it's really just to position ourselves strategically for the next few years.
And when was the last time we raised these fees? Do you remember? Was it 2018?
Yeah.
Yeah.
2018?
Yeah.
Yeah, construction has changed.
Yeah. So I guess the only thing I'll add is the majority of what we see are renovations and additions. And those are particularly tough, because you're merging existing construction with new construction. You got overlap between the old code, the new code, what's pre-existing, what's covered under the old and the new. So it does take a lot of hand-holding and assistance, which, I see every day in the office. The inspectors are supposed to be out of the door early in the morning to go do inspections. They're they're in the office answering questions, helping folks at the counter, helping contractors answer those questions, and it just, the complexity is, I'm amazed, because I see it, and I overhear it, and I overhear the phone conversations with the inspectors, and a lot of time and effort goes into it,
All right.
I must say.
Anyone on the board, any questions? Paul, I just have one that I just noticed, for example, in sheet metal, there's a minimum or, and the new fee is so much plus the 1%. Is that right, or is it a plus, or is that supposed to be an or?
Sheet metal?
Yeah, just looking at sheet metal for, as an example, one of them.
So it's, we're going to, it's $50 minimum or 1% of construction. We're going to 90 plus 1%
Plus,
value.
so
of the
it's
construction.
plus, okay.
Plus.
That's, I just wanted to make sure I was reading it
Oh, yes,
correctly.
you're saying.
That's all. I appreciate it,
I see what you're saying.
yeah. Any other questions? Anything from the public about online? We see any hands up online? I don't.
I do not.
Okay, do I hear a motion to accept the,
I think Suzanne just mentioned,
Amy's
there's
here,
still,
so-
yeah, there's still three.
to accept the
Proposed.
fees as presented?
I'll make a motion to accept the proposed fee changes to building, plumbing, gas, and electrical.
Second,
Amy seconded, okay, great. Any further discussion? None, we'll go to a vote. Amy?
aye.
Jamie?
Aye.
And I am a yes, so that's 3 zips.
Yep.
We're done
Thank you.
with that.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you. And let's see, we have one more. The town clerk.
The town clerk is a fairly easy one, and I honestly don't remember ever updating these since I've been here, so we might have done one or two. We did the liquor, we did all the liquor licenses, we're not changing those, they're not recommending those. We did those, I think, in 2018. Basically, the vital records or vital amendment fee is to make changes, to go into the state computer, our computer, and make changes to vital records like death certificates, marriage certificates, birth certificates. And they take a lot of time, so that's the fee. It's not a huge, we don't do many of them a year, so it's $40 from 10. And a one-day liquor license is going from 25 to 50. We didn't change that before.
And replacement dog tags?
Oh, replacement dog tags, yeah, $3. If you lose your dog tag, we're going to charge you $3. And you get the free cookie, so that's,
Get
get
the
free
the
cookies
free
every
cookie
time you
there,
go in
every time
there.
you walk in, that's right.
I take Meadow all the time for free cookies.
Do we have any questions or comments from the board? Amy, I can't see you, so do you have any?
Yeah, no, sorry, I took my video off. Like,
That's okay.
tired of
You
looking
can
at
keep,
myself
you
with
can,
the
you can
light
keep
of
it off.
position here.
Okay, great. I'll make a motion to accept the town clerk fee changes as stated in the packet.
Second,
Second from Amy. Okay, any further discussion? None? Go to a vote. Amy?
aye.
Jamie?
Aye.
And I am a yes. So that's,
just two more, I think.
Dumpster permit. And the-
Yep, so that's,
dumpster permit.
that'll
yes.
be collected with it's a new state regulation for fire, for dumpsters, 6 cubic yards or greater, and I think that's a pretty big dumpster, if I'm,
Yeah. It
going to
is-
charge that, and it'll be collected with the building fee. And the treasurer's office, the state has changed the regulations of return check fees. So those are going up from $25 to $25 and checks over 1%. Checks
Or
over,
2,500, yeah.
Yes.
Charge 1%.
and that's a state law change that you're just accepting.
Okay.
And then the tax service file fee is a new fee. We've never had that before. It takes a lot of time, so it's going from 0 to a $50 fee for that. and it's banks and lenders and larger.
Right, not necessarily residents is what
Right.
she says, right? So, any questions or comments on that from the board? Anyone from the public? Don't see any, so we have a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the fees as stated in the packet and listed by Jackie.
I'll second.
Second.
Okay, Amy, you got it. All right, any further discussion? Okay, we'll vote. Amy?
Aye.
Jamie?
Aye.
And I'm a yes. So I think, let me just say to the board, to the staff, and to the general public, there was a lot of fees, a lot of things we had to go through, and you did well. So thank you very much. And so next on the agenda is to create the community fund for the recycling committee. So is that?
So
yours?
Jared, if,
Pardon?
Amy here. Yeah, I brought this to Jackie's attention. Last recycling committee meeting I attended, they would like to solicit donations for a new swap shop. And so they asked me, what's the mechanism for being able to accept money? And so that's what this is for, if people want to donate. I think they'll do some sort of, little campaign for it. But this is where the money then will go into it. A fund has to be set up. You can't just, obviously keep it mixed in the pool of general money, so.
Okay, so this creates a fund where we being the town, can accept donations for rebuilding the Eastham Stock Exchange. I like that better than the swap shop. I think that's just a great name. The Eastham Stock Exchange, and just allows it to happen, and we create a fund to hold it, and we can use it. Is that right?
Yeah, well, I just want to point out that general laws do allow towns to accept contributions. So we don't really need any specific action from you to do that. But I think the process here that we're talking about is in anticipation of our Eastham Community Fund ultimately being accepted and passed at some point down the road. There's nothing that stops us from starting it to the extent we can right now. And so I will be talking with the town accountant about consolidating some of our donation accounts under a community fund account, and we can segregate and account for them separately. So if there is a campaign for the stock exchange, we are already able to have the account, but we will start consolidating under the community fund. I think it's also important, and Jackie and I might need to work on this as some sort of policy or practice, but if there is going to be a campaign, ultimately the select board has to accept contributions and donations, so
Right.
it's a good
That's
idea
good for
to
us.
ask you up front if it's okay that a group
We're
does
doing
it,
it.
because ultimately you have to accept them, and you don't want to be blindsided by that. So that's kind of the dynamics that are going on with this.
So do we need a vote to create the community fund
We should.
today?
Yeah, do it.
Yes, okay.
Well, the vote, we can accept contributions, but if you will take a vote to give us that direction, that helps us to kind of
Okay,
formulate it.
sounds fine with me. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to create the community fund.
Second.
Recycling, okay. Second, any further discussion? None, we'll go to a vote. Amy?
Aye.
Suzanne?
Yes.
Jamie?
Aye.
And I'm a yes, so
I'm so
that's
excited
done.
about that.
That's great. The next is committee resignations. Jim McMacken from the Eastham Housing Authority. Do we have a motion to accept his resignation?
I'll make a motion to accept the resignation of Jim McMakin from Eastham Housing Authority.
Second.
Okay. Go to a vote. Amy?
Aye.
Suzanne?
Yes.
Jamie?
Aye.
And I'm a yes, and I know Jim, I will write the letter
Thank you,
to
Jerry.
Jim.
Thank you.
All right, I just have to figure out who has his address where I can grab it from.
Kayla.
Kayla?
Yeah.
Okay,
She'll
we'll
be
get it
very
sent.
grateful that you're writing it.
Okay, she'll go, all right. New upcoming agenda items, needed follow-up on previous items, anything?
I think we have a
Fair.
full plate.
Yeah, we had a full plate today, but okay.
I think coming forward, we have a full plate too.
Yeah, we do too.
Many full plates
A
coming.
lot of things.
Now
Nothing
Suzanne's here, do we want to talk about those meetings?
Yep,
Yep.
yeah, I was gonna do that.
about the timing.
So
Yes.
we're gonna talk about adjusting the upcoming meetings. Do you wanna,
Yeah, so Jamie is unable to be here the 11th and the
or the 4th and the 18th?
4th and 18th, so we're proposing moving it to March 11th and March 25th.
Basically bumping it to the other Mondays that month.
I mean, I hope.
Who knows?
Yeah, I want to say, yeah, that would be great. So wait, to the 11th and the 25th?
Yeah, instead of
And the
the 4th
25th,
and
so
the
it'd be
18th.
like the second and fourth Mondays.
Which I think is better for you.
I like, is this gonna be better for me, or is it gonna be the one time that they
That it's
moved
not
everything? Let's look. February. Yeah, I mean, let's,
That's all right? Is that okay with you, Amy?
Yes,
Why
that works
not?
for me. I'll be here.
I didn't hear what Amy said.
I'm-
You never know.
She said, okay.
I'm available for in-person on those days, yes.
Yes, okay.
they moved their meetings too.
Okay for me.
They moved their meetings too?
Yes.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I was like, I shouldn't get excited about this because they probably moved theirs too.
Do we
It's
have a
fine.
So what
preference
are we
on the
on?
shellfish meeting?
Are we gonna,
Go
Yeah.
through it anyway.
Jamie,
Right,
do you have a
one-
preference on the shellfish meeting?
I'm fine with it on the 11th. That's
Okay.
fine.
Okay, I'll confirm with them, just because I had told him it was the 4th, but,
Oh, okay.
so I'll follow back up with him and make
Yeah,
sure
you can blame me
he's-
for that shift if they get upset.
Should I give him an option of the 11th or the 25th?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think that's fair. Yep.
Okay.
That'd be good.
all right. Okay, next is the town manager's report.
I really don't have anything new, Jerry. I'm
That's
sorry.
okay.
I was wondering if that
That's
was
why
the case.
we've done a lot.
Yeah,
You've done a lot today. Minutes, we will take that up next meeting. Any other business?
No. I make a
right.
motion, we adjourn
Yeah,
as select board and reconvene as Board of Water Commissioners.
Second.
second,
Nicely
okay,
done.
very good. We'll go to a vote. Amy?
Aye.
Suzanne?
Yes.
Jamie?
Aye.
And I'm a yes. Okay,